Now we have seen a detailed overview of the EC2 service, like what exactly does the EC2 service do, what are the major features of EC2 service. Then we also saw the testimonials provided by the big companies who are making use of the EC2 service. Then we saw the various purchasing models available using which we can rent the EC2 service. Then we also saw the different types of offers available under the AWS free tier. Now we can start the practical section of this experiment. So first of all, we will have to log in into our account. So the AWS management console will be displayed on your screen. Over here, under the compute domain, we need to select the EC2 service. Here we are able to see a brief summary of different type of resources like volumes, key pairs, snapshots, load balancers. So all these resources come under the category of the EC2 resource. So up till now, any such resource has not been created, so the numbers are set to 0. So for starting this EC2 instance creation process, we need to click on launch instance. So the entire process of creating or setting up a EC2 server can be done in a series of 7 steps, which you can see over here. First of all, we need to choose an AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. It is nothing but the basic software package that includes the operating system we wish to configure on our server and other basic applications that are necessary for the setting up of the server. The second option or the second step is choosing the instance type. This is more of related to the hardware configuration of our server. Then in step number 3, we need to configure some network settings. And step number 4, we need to add some storage to our server. Step number 5 is adding tags. Tags are nothing but labels that we can attach with our AWS resources, using which we can filter out or manage any of our AWS resource. Step number 6 involves configuring the security group. In this step, we will be setting or we will be specifying what type of protocols will be having access to our server. And final step is review, where we will be able to see the summary of all the configuration options we have selected in the previous 6 steps. So in step number 1, we have list of different operating system that we can choose from, like Linux, Windows, and various versions of Windows, various versions of Linux, like Ubuntu is available, Red Hat is available. But one thing we need to note here is all of these AMI we cannot use freely. So to identify which of the AMI we can use freely, we need to look for this label, free tier eligible. So only those AMI we can use in our server. So for our demonstration purpose, we will be selecting the Windows AMI. It is a 64-bit Windows operating system belonging to the x86 architecture. Step number 2, choose an instance type. So here we can specify what type of hardware configuration we need for our server, like what type of CPU, how much memory, how much of storage and networking capacity we need to configure on our server. This is around 275 different combinations of hardware configuration, but out of all these, only one of this configuration is freely available, or we can say we can observe this free tier eligible label just over here. So for our demonstration purpose, we will be using this one only. And we had seen the different instance types that AWS provides us, where general purpose, compute optimized, then memory optimized, and so on. Here also we can observe that the compute optimized, GPU instances, memory optimized, storage optimized, and so on. So just briefly, they have given a description, like if we go for this general purpose one, so how many core CPU we are getting with it, what will be the RAM size, then what will be the storage type, how will be the network performance, and so on. So we will be using this one, and then we can go to the next step. Here there is just basic network settings and subnet setting, and how many instances of EC2 server we want to set. So we can just keep it as one. There is not much of the settings we require to be done over here. So we can directly go to the next step. In this step, we need to add some storage to our server. So here also we can specify how much storage we need. So here in step number 5, we can add some tags to our EC2 resource or EC2 server. Tags will help you to search for your resources. So we will go to the option add tag. We can set any name for it. In step number 6, we need to configure the security group. And a security group is a set of firewall rules that control the traffic for your instance. So in this step, we need to add rules to allow specific traffic to reach our instance. For example, if we want to set up a web server and allow internet traffic to reach our instance, then we need to add rules that allow unrestricted access to the HTTP and HTTPS ports. And over here we can see RDP protocol has been selected. The reason is we will have to connect to our EC2 server using one of the RDP client. RDP client is a application which is based on the RDP protocol. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, and it is used for remotely accessing any computer using the network. So we have to set, or we have to keep it selected. And the final step is to review all the settings that we have selected. When everything is fine, then we can click on the launch button. Now they are asking us for selecting a key pair. So what is a key pair? A key pair consists of a public key that AWS stores and a private key file that we store. Together, they allow us to connect to our EC2 instance securely. So whenever we wish to connect to our EC2 instance, we will be asked for the private key file. And this combination of public key and private key will help us to access our resource. So for that, I will have to create a key pair, and I can name it anything. And I need to download this file. And click on Launch Instance. It will take quite a few minutes for your EC2 instance to be up and running. So till the time it gets ready, we can observe some of the information which is displayed under these 4 tabs related to your EC2 server. Under the description tab, you can see the public DNS, the public IP which has been assigned to your EC2 server, using which you can connect to your EC2 server. Then another basic information like the private DNS, private IP, the platform details, and such other informations. Under the status check tab, you can see for the status check information, and it is used to detect problems that may impair this instance from running your application. Monitoring tab is one of the most important tab. It gives you vital statistics about your EC2 instance, like how much disk read operation has been done, what was the CPU utilization so far, how many disk read operations have been done on your EC2 server, then disk write operations, the network performance. So briefly, they provide you the statistics related to all these operations. And under the tags tab, we can see the tags that we have attached with our EC2 resource. So once we observe this tick mark over here, we can understand that our EC2 server is ready. Now we can connect to it. So in order to connect to your EC2 instance, we need to click on the connect button over here. And we need to download this remote desktop file. So they have mentioned here which connection method we want to use to connect to our instance. So we will be using the first one, using a standalone RDP client. So we have already seen what is an RDP client, and we need to get the password for accessing our EC2 server. So click on get password. Over here we need to upload the file we had downloaded that consists of our private key. We had named it as KTC. So we have to click on decrypt password. After that, we need to launch the RDP client, and the RDP client that we are going to use is Remina. Over here, we need to import the RDP file we just downloaded. Double click on that. It asks for accepting the certificate. We need to click on OK. We need to provide our access password and domain name for our EC2 instance over here. So we can copy it from here. and domain name as well. So our EC2 instance is starting. So this is our EC2 instance. You can make it full screen. So it doesn't even look as if we are working on a virtual computer. The look and feel is just like as if we are using it on our PC. And you can see all these options available here, which is normally present on a Windows PC. You can go to the File Explorer. And over here you can see there is 30 GB of around 30 GB of storage allocated, which we had set during our EC2 server setup procedure. Now we can also browse the internet. You can just try and perform a simple speed test to check what is the network speed that our EC2 instance has been allocated. So we have got the download speed as 221 Mbps per second. It's quite a very nice internet speed. And upload speed we have got as 166 Mbps. So we have got a very good network connectivity associated with our EC2 instance. So we can do all types of operations in this EC2 server as we do in our personal computer. We can host applications on this EC2 server, and using the public IP that I had shown you under the description tab, using that public IP we can access this server or any application that we host on this server. Now we can turn off this instance as well. So here under the instance state you can see it's written running. So it's always better to not keep your EC2 instance in a running state even when you're not using it. We should keep it in a stopped state. The reason is to avoid unnecessary charges getting incurred on our EC2 resource. So to be on a safer side, we can keep it stopped. So for stopping it, we need to come under this option instance state and we need to click on stop. We can see other options present over here as well, like reboot and terminate. Terminate will stop the EC2 server completely, like you won't be able to launch it again. So for temporarily stopping it, we have to go for this option. So just now we saw the entire procedure of setting up an EC2 instance. Then we launched our EC2 instance. We just went through the different features we are getting in that EC2 instance as we get in our normal PC. Then we also saw the network connectivity we are getting attached with our EC2 instance, which is quite good. And finally we stop that instance to avoid charges getting incurred onto it. With this, we complete our experiment number